Troops, this is the Eagle Podcast, the home of accountability. Troops, here we are. It's another COVID-19 Sunday podcast special. I'm pleased to be joined by a bloke who I haven't known very long, but I've watched his journey since about Christmas on Instagram, and let's just say he's dedicated. It's Paul Farrow. Paul, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, John.
How are you coping in the current climate? No gym. How are you keeping yourself motivated?
Routine, to be quite honest. It's,
Great word.
I think it's the most important thing to try and stick to, especially when you're stuck in like the same four walls for the majority of the day.
Your Instagram, your stories, very good. I feel like you put out a very positive message in regarding you've got to put the work in. Where's that ethos come from? Have you always had it, or have you had to learn it?
To be quite honest, I've really had to learn it. I've worked in the health and fitness industry for 15 years, and for the majority of that time, I've been a fairly chunky bloke.
Right.
I've trained in the gym, a lot, but I've never really, there's always been things I'm missing. A lot of the time it's been the diet. A lot of the time, I've avoided training legs. But it was really only been sort of the past 6 to 12 months that it's all really started coming together for me.
And what was that moment of realism, Paul? Like, what was that point where you were like, I'm training, I ain't going anywhere, what am I doing?
At the start of 2019, I found out I was going to become a dad.
Cool.
I didn't want to be, a fat dad. So I started having a bit of a look at, a bit of introspection, look at what I was doing and trying to figure out, what I could do. Ultimately, A, it's about my health long term, and B, it's about being physically able to do stuff with my boy as he grows up. So,
no, I'm just sort of going to say there, Paul, it's very important. Like, can you imagine, God forbid you get COVID-19, but just say you got it now. This version of you now is a lot better set up to take on a virus like that than the version back in 2019. And I feel like we all need to be healthier. And I'm not talking about shirt off, ripped to pieces, the gun show. I just mean as an individual, putting the right foods in our body, exercising a certain amount of times a week, and just being healthy. Do you know what I mean? What's your take?
Oh, absolutely. I've lost, almost 20% of my body weight in the past year. I got out of breath walking up a set of stairs, 12 months ago. God forbid if I got COVID-19 in the condition I was in then, I'd have been seriously up the creek.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably in a much better position now, physically, if I was to catch it, to be able to survive.
And that's the point, I think, after this, of unhealthy lifestyles and saying, I haven't got the time for this and I haven't got the time for that. Now, there's a choice, isn't there? Because I always say there's always time for destruction, but there's never time for development. And I believe that right now is what's happening right now. All we have now is time for development. How have you adapted your routine? Because I know that you're very, very gym heavy. I always say on your stories in the gym quite a lot.
Well, yeah, I was in the gym sort of 5-6 days a week before this, and obviously that's not an option now. I've got a little bit of kit in my garage. One of the first things I did after lockdown was clear out my garage, create a bit of space, and I've got a few weights, an old spin bike, and a step, and I'm just trying to adapt, work my routine in. I don't have ridiculously sort of heavy weights sort of sat around, but you do what you can. If you can't go heavy, go volume. But the main thing is just to make sure I get that workout in, sort of burn a few calories, and stay conditioned
for when the world turns back on.
Well, hopefully I come out of it better than when I went in. I'm popping out for an early morning run when there's no one about. I've never really been one to do that.
Yeah, do you know what? Thanks for that the other day as well. The door-to-door challenge is becoming a little bit of a mini success. And we sort of created it to try and help others. Do you know what I mean? Just to try and let people know that we're still thinking of them in times like this. Because I feel like originally I thought small business, but actually I don't think it matters what size you are. Because at the moment, if you're not producing or you're not selling, then you're only so cash rich, aren't you?
Well, exactly. And unless you've got, huge stockpiles of cash in the bank, there's a lot of businesses out there in trouble. But yeah, I had a lot of fun on that door-to-door challenge. Popping around. I've got a soft spot for the local Durham brewery. Not that I drink too much these days, but
yeah,
I think there's a lot of people out there in trouble.
You want to tell people what you do. We had a quick chat about it before we went online, but I thought I'd just leave it to the professional and let you tell everyone what it is you do and who you work for and where you work.
So I work for the Valentine Group. I'm the group head of membership and SPA customer service centre. I've been with the company about 10 years, so I've seen an awful lot of change, and I still go in and enjoy every day.
Yeah, and I said to you before podcast went live, I think Duncan Bannatyne and the Bannatyne Group should be commended for how swiftly they acted in regarding sort of membership across the board. It wasn't my immediate thought like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, I want me 50 quid or whatever people pay for membership. But I felt like they acted in a really swift and decisive manner. Is that how it works there? I mean, I've been a member only a short time and I've been really impressed with the entire setup. What have you seen change over the time?
So over the last 10 years, we've invested in technology. The gyms have been refurbed. We've introduced new training, but the big focus that's been there for the certainly in the last year or two is about staff and people. Because you can have all the kit in the world, but if you don't have people, and to build a community to say hello and say goodbye when you walk in and out of the place, it has an entirely different sort of feel. And I think you're only as strong as the people that you've got in place, to be honest.
Yeah, that is a great ethos, and obviously that comes down from Duncan. That's obviously the way he wants it to be, and I feel like that the top represents the bottom and the bottom represents the top. That sort of forward-facing company ethos. And obviously, when you get bigger and bigger as a business, it's very, very easy to get removed from that. And obviously, Bannatyne's is a massive group across the UK. How many gyms? 20 plus?
72 across the UK.
Wow, right. Stand corrected. 72. That's a lot. And that's obviously a lot of memberships that are on hold at the moment. You know what I mean? That's a big, and that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
when you look at it like
hell
that.
of a lot on hold. I mean, obviously, the announcement that came out on that Friday night was, not an awful lot of notice for us. It came out at 5, and we had to have the doors shut by 10.
Yeah, I know.
So we had to move pretty quickly, get the places locked down, and and then tell people what we were going to do. So
it was very swift and very decisive, and it showed great leadership. It definitely did that. Sort of on your fitness journey there, Paul. I think we've chatted a few times on Instagram. Is there a goal? Is there a target weight? Is there a defining moment where you think I've done it, or are you just setting the bar every time?
I think it's probably turned into setting the bar each time. When I originally started this in March 2019, getting some structure, getting some advice, and get my nutrition right. It was a 5-month thing, up until the point my son was born.
Yeah.
And then obviously last year he arrived, a few months early. Everything got derailed, and I put all the weight I'd lost back on. So I only really started again in October.
Oh wow.
Kicked it back in there. So it's 6 months. I've lost 4 stone. I feel fantastic. If someone had asked me what I wanted to do when I started, if I can get down to sort of 16 stone, that'll be a bit of an achievement. It's kind of the lightest I've ever been as an adult.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just really enjoying the journey. I've made a ton of friends running an Instagram account. There's been an awful lot of community support out there. I'm typically a very introverted person, but actually just throwing it all out on sort of social media has had a really positive reaction.
Yeah.
And I think actually it's probably kept me really accountable through the time. But
Great word.
it's also let me sort of understand the art of the possible. You know, you know, like I say, I haven't been in regular size clothes for an absolute sort of ton of years. I'm just kind of getting into them now.
How does that feel, Paul? Like when you talk, I've heard people mention this before. Like the moment they go and buy whatever is a standard type of jean, and they can put that jean on for the very first time, like is that a thing? Like is that like I don't know about it. Is it a thing? Is it something where you think, thank fuck for that? Do you know what I mean?
You know what? For me, it's really silly. It was walking into Primark and being able to buy something.
Wow,
Because
right.
for years, Primark clothes have always been sort of too small. Like I've just
Right.
I've never owned a Primark t-shirt. And then a couple of weeks ago, before COVID-19, we were due to go on holiday, so I popped in, bought some ridiculous neon shorts and an XL Primark t-shirt, and they fit. And
Wow.
for me, that is the type of thing. And I'm still not, in the regular sort of sizes. I'm a large/extra large at the moment, but
Nothing wrong with that, Paul.
absolutely. But the fact is, I'm no longer, ordering my clothes online because I need a 50-inch
Yeah.
waist or a 3XL top or something like that.
Is that where you are? 50-inch waist? Is that sort of what you were sitting at? Well,
That's what I was at the start. Yeah, I had a big
wow.
50-inch pair of jeans, and they were pretty much the only jeans that I had. And at that sort of size, you can't even wander into like the tracky aisle at Tesco and
Really?
pick
Wow.
anything off the shelf. It's pretty much all order online.
And have you done? It's all well and good training the body, but what have you done to train the mind as well? Podcasts, listen to anyone, David
Yeah,
Goggins, them sort of
I've
people.
Yeah, I mean, following people on Instagram has been pretty inspirational. I'm not the first person to walk this road. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people out there that have done it. And once you start finding one or two people, the algorithm keeps suggesting more. And I think
Yeah, of course.
I follow about 2,000 different fitness accounts, and there's some absolutely fantastic ones out there. There's one of our members in Darlington, Emma, who runs she runs, but she also runs a podcast and a local business as well. And she's been pretty inspirational looking at her transformation over the years.
Cool. What's her
Podcast,
name? Emma.
Emma Holmes.
Right. After that crowd. What's a podcast?
What are you waiting for? But waiting as in
Yeah. Yeah.
wait. So,
Yeah.
she's done a few episodes.
Cool.
Other than that, yeah, people are pointing out sort of Jay Alderton to me. He's done a lot of good podcasts over the years, particularly with regards to mindset. Technology wise, I've started tracking my food on an app, which
Yeah.
diet was always difficult for me.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the main changes. But
I think the problem is, Paul, is we tell stories and we lie to ourselves, and that's where it comes down to. And sometimes you just have to say, I've been a bit of a beefer. Like I'm just going to have a day where I just eat shit.
Yeah,
There's too many people out there who are looking for fads and they're looking for excuses instead of just saying, if you want to lose weight, you need to know what your daily calorie intake is, and then you need to take 500 calories off that, and then just be constant with it. It's not rockets. You know
no,
what I mean?
absolutely, John. You spot on. And I was exactly that type of person. Like, I would sit, I would secret eat in my car. I'd grab two, 150-gram bags of Doritos, from the shop, eat them on the way to work, and no one would know anything about it. But I probably just had about 1,500 calories right there, and then I'd be like, well, why am I putting on weight? And
Yeah,
that's why I'm putting on weight.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And as well, Paul, you can't out-train a bad diet. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't. I've done some horrific challenge stuff where I've done 50 milers in a day. Now you might think, God, if you did 50 mile in a day, you'd lose so much weight. Wrong. you might burn 13,000 calories, but it'll take you nearly 12,500 calories to be able to do the event. So your deficit is tiny. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and then you'll finish the event and think, I'm definitely having a pizza and a big ice cream. Deficit gone. Do you know what I mean? And it's not big, hideous events that make you lose weight. It's consistency and just being 500, 300, 250, and it's that constant until you get to the point where like you're happy with your weight and you think, right, I'm just going to maintain now and I'm just going to be, you know, a bit normal. But one thing I'm interested in is I call myself an eagle, and that's my story to tell on another time. But where is your thing with the shark come from? I like it.
So yeah, I've got a massive tattoo of a shark on my back.
Right, okay.
And you know, that's originally where it came from. Took about 2.5, 3 years to complete. You know, it was done when I was big, so I mean, you know, it's a big piece on a big guy.
Yeah.
But it's a big, you know, sort of hammerhead style shark that goes from the tip of my shoulders down to the bottom of my bum.
Yeah.
You know, people at work sort of cottoned on to that, and one of our designers, you know, created me the little shark that you'll see tagged in a lot of my photos. So
And
you know, we've got an eagle talking to a shark.
yes, I love it. Sweet. And is that like has that now become your sort of spirit animal?
I guess so. Yeah, it's you know, obviously you put a lot of hours into getting something like that done.
Yeah.
So you know, there's a lot of sort of time and pain invested in that. You know, it's become like the tag for my sort of Instagram photos that you'll see through the
I think it's
history.
great.
Yeah.
I think it's great, Paul. And I would encourage anyone to find some sort of animal that they find an affinity with, and then style themselves on that, because it changes the mind. Do you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is when it gets hard, that last minutes, if it's a park run and it's that last 30-second blast, if you've got nothing to relate to, you're more likely to drop off and just fade. But if you think, no, I've got to be like the fucking hammerhead, do you know what I mean? I've got to go and I've got to swim fast. And it gives you that psychological push, you know, and I get it all the time. When it starts getting hard for me, I just think, what the fuck would an eagle do right now? And then the answer is, it'd be a fucking eagle. That's what it'd do. And that's what when I originally saw your thing, I was like, oh, here's another guy who's cottoned onto an animal, or
Yeah.
you know, and that's his spirit animal. And that's all part of the story, mate. That's another chapter in the book, isn't it? No, I really like it. I like it. And the Infinity to Grenades, the bars, the brand, where's that come from?
Well, I mean, obviously you know, obviously there's a commercial relationship there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not being paid. I'm not being done anything. You know, I genuinely like the products. Like I said, I've been in the industry for 15 years.
Yeah,
I've tried a lot of crap protein bars. There are
Mm.
some awful ones out there. And, you know, I first came across Grenade in 2017 when they weren't, you know, one of the major ones.
Yeah.
I tried their peanut nutter bar and I was like, oh, you know what? I love that. So I had a few boxes here and there over the years. And then when we were, you know, changing our new supplier at work, I wanted to make sure their name was in the mix. But you know, Grenade are now our supplier. And yeah, you know, I think they've got some, you know, fantastic flavors. I like the you know, the ethos, and their tagline sort of blow shit up, you know, challenge things, you know, don't. You know, I think it is, you know, challenging convention, you know, doing something a little bit different, not being afraid to, you know, put yourself out there. I think they do a lot of good stuff. And, you know, if you listen to any of the podcasts from their CEO, Alan Barrett, you know, I mean, he talks to a lot of different people, but, you know, he'll do some weird and wonderful stuff.
He's really active on LinkedIn. I've got him on LinkedIn. And the Grenade at the moment are on an absolute PR masterclass because they're donating quite a lot of their stuff to the NHS, which is a masterstroke. If it's good, if it's done, it's coming from a good place, but commercially it won't do them any injustice. And for the rest of 2020, whatever's left in 2020, I'll personally be offering heavily discounted things to people who come from that bracket. A lot of key workers actually will be getting a discount, and I feel like that, from a commercial point of view, is the right move to make. What's your take? Do you follow him on LinkedIn? Are you connected with him?
Yeah, I follow Alan on LinkedIn and see what they're up to. I think they've done I agree. I think that their support for the NHS is fantastic. Absolutely, it won't harm their reputation commercially.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a cash cost to it, so they are throwing a lot of products out there. I think it's a really positive thing that they're doing. And if there's one thing I think this crisis is showing, it's showing who a lot of important people are. People that you might not have thought about before. But there's a lot of key workers out there now who are getting people standing outside their doors. They're clapping at 8 p.m. on a Thursday.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Personally, Paul, I hope that clap on a Thursday never goes. I think that should become a thing all the time. And yes, we're clapping for the NHS, but truck drivers, they are keeping the shelves stocked. Sometimes the sort of forgotten side of it, but stuff isn't getting to these supermarkets by magic. People are bringing it in lorries. The bin men, hygiene, cleaners, it's a big list, you know what I mean? But I think it's a big list that we all should take the time, and say, thanks very much. I was in Morton Park, Morrison, yesterday, and I thanked the girl on the till. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, she is putting herself in risk because she's coming in contact with so many people day-to-day basis. But if they didn't go to work, the nation, eventually there wouldn't be any food. So I think we should, the clap for the frontline workers, I don't think it should ever end. I really don't. I think it promotes great community spirit.
Well, I agree, and I hope that we don't come out of this lockdown just go back to the exactly the way it was before. Because
agree.
There's a lot of people out there who I don't think people looked at and saw the value that they're going to see now. Because you're exactly right. If we didn't have the people that are in our care homes caring for the elderly, the people that are in hospital, like you say, the cleaners, the supermarket workers, the drivers, you're right. Where would we get anything at the moment?
And a lot of these people might be seen as low skilled or low cost workers, but actually, the most important person at the Bannatynes group before they had to close on the Friday, it wasn't Duncan, it wasn't the managers, it was the cleaners. The cleaners and the gym staff, they were the most important people in the whole complex, because especially the cleaners, they were they were fighting the battle on the front line, keeping the surface. I mean, the gym is always clean; it's always immaculately clean, but the level was taken to another level. So I hope that's appreciated as well when the world goes back to whatever normal may be. But you're right. I hope we don't go back to what we've left. I feel like this is a real moment right now where if we don't learn from it as a society, next time whatever comes will be a lot harder, and maybe there's no way back from it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can't remember in my lifetime when there's ever been anything like this. I hope that there's never anything quite like this again. But I hope you're right. It is a catalyst for change.
Yeah, and being compassionate and being caring for others and taking time to be nice. Again, I hope that's something that becomes the norm, because there's too many people driven by ego. And end of the day, ego now at the moment is worth zilch in the current market. I don't care if you drive a Ferrari. I don't care if you're in fantastic shape. I'd rather you're just a nice person. And I think it always sort of comes back to that. Does your wife work at Bannatynes, or you do separate things?
No, she's a scientific recruitment consultant
Wow.
who works in Sedgefield. So she's on maternity at the moment.
So the whole house is in lockdown together.
Yeah, pretty much. We haven't had a car off the drive in 2 weeks at the moment, so it's just me, my wife, and my boy. I took him out for a quick walk yesterday, which was the first time in 2 weeks. Obviously I'm trying to, get out on the streets a little bit here and there, just to keep active. And
what do you feel like when you go outside? Do you feel like there's danger outside, or do you feel like we've created the monster under the bed?
I think there's probably two sides to that. Yeah, when I pop out, if I'm going out for a run at sort of 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't really see anyone. There might be an odd car that goes past, and it's eerie, but actually there's something quite tranquil about it. But I went out earlier on today for a bike ride, and there are a lot more people out than usual. But people would sort of see each other, and they're different groups, and some people just socially distance normally, and then other people would see people coming, and you'd see the fear. How am I going to move out of the way? How am I going to make that 2 meters? And I hope that's something that we don't carry over. Is that sort of fear of others?
It was very funny. I saw someone give me a wide berth, right? And they'd just been buying 3 liters of vodka, and I was like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's got to be strong in here before you worry about out here. And I just thought, unbelievable. You're giving me 2 meters distance, which you should, but it's the way in which they did it. Like I was some sort of, and I'll say the word leper. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll say, like, They looked at me as if I was some sort of like zombie or someone who was on death's door. Like I'm a picture health, Paul. Do you know what I mean? I'm walking around at like 88 kilos clean. I've got a resting heartbeat of 47. Like I run up mountains like people run up the stairs. And yet this guy's giving me a wide berth, and he's the one pulling 3 liters of vodka off the shelves in Morrison's on a Saturday night with nowhere to go, nowhere to possibly go and drink and have a good time, just to sit in your house and basically destroy yourself. And I'm like, you're already lost, mate. You're already taking on water, and you think I'm the problem. It's psychologically, a lot of people need to change. No, it's great. Look, Paul, I know you're conscientious for time, but we're gonna move on to the 5 watts, mate. So what does your day look like now? New routine?
Yeah, I mean it's not too different to the old one. I'm trying to do the same. I get up early in the morning. I train for an hour or two. I'll have breakfast. I'll shower. I then work from home through the middle of the day. After I finish at 5:30, I give my boy dinner. I bath him after that, and then we settle him down for the evening, and rinse and repeat Monday to Friday. It's not too different, and then the weekends are family time.
Brilliant.
I'm trying to keep the same routine.
Second one, mate. What workouts are you doing?
Trying to maintain the type of splits I was before. Try and get 4 weight sessions in a week. I'm doing a little bit of Les Mills on demand because we've got a free trial for that now. I'm trying to run a bit, just get out of the house. I've done a couple of nice long bike rides on a Sunday recently, just to explore a bit more of the area. I'm not from Durham originally, so it's nice to sort of get out and see some different places. Whatever I can to keep myself active and keep a calorie deficit.
Brilliant, mate. Love it. What have you started? Have you started anything new? Learned a language?
Honestly, no. I've not started any sort of new languages. I've probably spent more time through the day around my son, which has been nice seeing more of his development. It's been a real sort of opportunity for family time working from home. I think you've got to be a bit more sort of self-disciplined as well, so you don't just sort of toddle off downstairs. I think I'll grab a couple of hours on Netflix before I go back and answer that email.
Yeah, do you know what, Paul? You're right there. I tell you what I've started. I started Tiger King on Netflix. It's Carol Baskin's fault, all of it.
All of it, mate. All of it. Yeah.
No, fair play. Yeah. What have you stopped, mate? So personally, obviously, I've stopped the gym, coffee shops. all my adventures have stopped. Yourself?
So yeah, obviously, I'm no longer going to the gym. I've stopped driving. I haven't used my car in 2 weeks now. So that's just been sort of sat on the drive. I stopped popping to the shop just for something. If you have a little craving or whim, I'm not just going down the shop and thinking, there's a tenner, let's have it. We're making a lot more use of sort of food we've got. I've got some spicy fish stew in the slow cooker downstairs. Probably using up more of what we've got in the cupboards.
Fair play. Fifth and final one, mate. What's the first thing you do after lockdown's finished?
Go to the gym, mate. Probably for a sauna, a steam room, and a swim. You can't really swim when you're on lockdown. So
you can't swim in a bath, mate. I'd gig unless you got a big bath. Look, Paul, it's been absolutely fantastic to firstly meet you, and to get some of your time. No doubt we'll see each other somewhere in the gym and out and about. No doubt, definitely for sure. Where can people find you, Paul? On Instagram and etc.
Yeah, so on Instagram, that's the primary form of social media I use. That's at Paul Farrow MFJ. Alternatively, I'm in the Darlington gym Monday to Friday when it's open. Early mornings. And at some point, I'll have to join you on one of your adventures.
Absolutely, and challenge events is what I'm all about, man. And I've got stuff that blows people's minds. I really enjoy the dark side. I really enjoy tough, arduous events that make people finally admit to themselves, yeah, you're right, I did have 10-15% more than I thought I had, which makes me now think, if I can do this, what else can I achieve? And that's what it's all about. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's all about. Paul, absolutely fantastic to speak to you, mate. I will let you get back on with your Sunday night. Thanks for your time. I'll get this podcast out ASAP.
Lovely.
Cheers,
Thanks, John.
Bye-bye.